Wasted.
Uncle, we'll start over. We like Andrew Hiller. We are live. We are live. We are LIVE live. Hello, Jack. Hello,
What
B.
was the music that in the waiting room way back, like
It
now,
was
like
just
10
it
minutes
was one of
ago?
the stock like rock. It's
It was
background.
good.
Yeah, here.
It was that these stock these. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so this
It,
would be
it
like
feels
our-
very. It feels very Queens of the Stone Age.
totally. I thought the same thing.
That riff
yes.
sounds very Dave Grohl-y,
Yeah.
but
Totally.
like
I thought the same thing.
circa late 90s, early 2000s Dave Grohl.
This
Grohl.
Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl.
This one's called Feeding the Ducks.
Huh. Oh, this was last week. This is what you had planned last week. I was jamming out too. Can you put me back in the waiting room? There's definitely a coaching cue in there, a la Mr. Miyagi. Show me feed the ducks.
Show me feed the ducks.
What was the first rock one? Show me.
Just rock.
Show me rock.
So yeah, this is cool. And I can add music too. So like if I have particular, if I have any music, yeah. What does it let me add? Yeah, anything that I have downloaded. But I'm sure there's copyright. Well, there may or may not be, because you can. There may or may not be because you can record privately too. Like I can just take this and instead of broadcasting it live, I can just record a video, and then without it being live.
But isn't the second the music gets involved though, like the YouTube AI figures out like, oh, you're using this song, and it was longer than 13 seconds or 8 seconds or whatever, and so your whole video is blocked.
I think it's 7 seconds or something like that. Yeah, you get like 7 seconds or something like that. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll figure. Well, I probably won't put actual music ever on this, but if I'm playing with, because I've used this for other things. So like when I submit, when I do like the coaching homework for Affiliate U, and so one of them would be like last week was writing your lesson plan and kind of as you write your lesson plan, like kind of walking through your process of writing your lesson plan. So write your timeline and all that stuff. And so I use this as like I took a picture of my lesson plan and then just use this and just kind of walk through how I wrote it. And that was so I use this for a lot of other things too that don't necessarily end up going live. So maybe there's like that's what I'm saying. The platform may let me use music, but as soon as I put it on YouTube, it'd probably shut it down. So anyway.
Is the idea that you do that first and then they critique you and then you have your coaches do it and you critique them? Or are they linked in on also have the opportunity to go through that process with Affiliate U critiquers or trainers giving them the critique?
That one. So going
second,
I'll show you. It's really great. So okay. So this is the coaching development module.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now they just kind of start over. So we're in week 4 of a 26-week coaching development program.
Okay.
And so lesson 4 is the whiteboard brief. And they shoot a little video talking about the whiteboard brief and the importance of it. And this is, so they put this out on Sunday. They'll put it out on Sunday. And so this is the lesson for the week. So here's a description of it. There's a video in it. Here's your homework. So your homework this week will be video yourself recording a 3 to 4 minute whiteboard brief. And then what you do is you submit it to Best Hour. And then they will, over the course of the week, what they'll do is, so they have a few, whether it's, so there's Lindsay, who's C-Seminar staff, also works at CrossFit Rife with Fern. Denise will look at it, Pat will look at it. But they put it all together and they'll upload a YouTube video, basically critiquing your whiteboard brief. Or if you want to get on one of the coaches
weekly
calls,
calls.
the weekly calls. While you're on there, you can put it live right there and get live feedback. Now, the whole staff, what I do is they have, so your staff has access to this as well. So you can provide them a link and they have access to the coaching development course. They can follow there, but then I also use Slack to like, hey, here's the homework this week. And then we can also kind of use it to talk back and forth about it and then go from there. So you're rolling with Affiliate U does it week by week. So we're rolling with Affiliate U week by week.
What's your current compliance rate
of homework? I'd say the homework is lower. Let me see. Link yesterday. Yesterday was a call with Denise Thomas. There were me, James, Soph, and Hugh were all on that call. Ariel and Colin are both really great about it. About doing the homework. And then the calls, I'd say getting on the calls is a little bit more challenging because people have schedules in the middle of the day and the calls there's like a call at Tuesday at 5 o'clock and then Friday at 11 a.m. So those times can be a little challenging for people. But I would say for the most, it varies anywhere from 50 to 80%. People are like engaging and doing the homework.
Which one if you had to pick, which one would you prioritize? And then, you know what I mean? Like say
be on the call or do the homework.
Yeah.
Do the homework. Because the call, I understand. Now, what's nice is they record the calls and then upload the link so you can go and watch it later, whether you're on it or not. Mm-hmm. The homework, if you have a busy schedule, takes, record your whiteboard brief, upload it, and email it. That takes 10 minutes. Let's call it 15 on the long end. And then you will get that feedback back, whether you're on a call or not.
Do you have any way of getting kind of a feedback loop from your coaches as to the contextualization or the worthwhileness of this? Like how long has the runtime been? And has anyone sort of like offered to you like, I love the idea, but I can't, I'm never going to do this, Eric. Like it's really sweet you're offering it, but it's never going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, have you gotten any sort of feedback?
No one said they're never going to do it. So Mary's one who Mary will always give me her straight up unfiltered opinion and feedback. Which more often than not, I'm like, Mary, you still work here? Did I really ask for that? No, sorry, Mary, you were fired yesterday again. But she said what she finds, she likes things to be a little more interactive. And I think she said using the link going through Affiliate U feels like this. She likes the more interactive feedback, as probably more like, so once a month we have a staff meeting and half of that meeting will be, if not more, will be going over any sort of coaching stuff, whether it is writing your lesson plan or whether it is, group coaching in the circle and teaching the foundational movements. She likes that more, which I totally understand. But to have that more, that means, okay, I need to have you guys hear more. And so I think from the, hey, watch a video and then submit it online and then wait for feedback, for her, I think she feels like there's a disconnect from us as coaches at Fairwinds. It feels like this outside thing, which I get. Some people, it's just a time thing, like trying to find an extra 10 to 20 minutes over the course of a week is actually harder than you think, which I can understand.
How are you measuring the impact of the process?
So I've been doing evaluations. I try to do evaluations at least once a month on each coach. And then each time we'll look at it knowing specifically what it is that we're trying to improve or what we've done. I'll watch that specifically. And if they've submitted the homework, great. I already have a baseline. Mm-hmm. So say the whiteboard brief, I know that, okay, hey, I know you did that whiteboard brief homework. Then when I evaluate you and see the whiteboard brief, we can see, did you take those, whether it was from me or from seminar staff on what you need to work on and how that's looking. And so setting a nice baseline there. If they don't do the homework, I at least have a baseline from a previous evaluation to use and build off of that.
Do you have any sort of experiential perspective? So what I mean is like the clients or the athletes in the class, any way of capturing that? Because in the end, like you could think they're a great coach, the coach could think they're a great coach, but we were talking about this before.
It's so
I think
true. Like
the athlete's like, right, and you're like, man, this coach has made such great steps and progress, and you have 85, 87.6% of your client response surveys are like, yeah, it's good before, it's good now. I don't know, I don't really know. And you're like, why am I bothering?
So I will say part of it is there, and you could probably name most of them, but there is a trusted group that is always willing to give, I guess you could say feedback, but on how things are going or how certain people are doing as like is kind of, because it's one thing I say this all the time about like Sophia. Sophia's a good coach, and I think a lot of people see Sophia as this phenomenal athlete, and so they'd be like, "Oh, man, she's a great coach because she's, do you see her handstand push-ups and do you see her muscle ups?" And it's like, yeah, that's right. Like she's really good at those things, but that how good does someone transfer that into coaching someone? It's that same conversation all the time. Like Mike Krzyzewski could not dunk a basketball to save his life, but he has several national championships coaching Duke basketball. And so, just because you're a great athlete doesn't necessarily translate to a great coach. And I think sometimes athletes are in all of that. They're like, oh, wow, look how well she moves. What a great coach. Look how fit she is. What a great coach. And which is fine if that's all people need. It makes it real simple. But I think there are people that have been here long enough that also know the difference between, what's good coaching and what's just good class management. And they will tell me that they feel like they felt like so-and-so could be better here. They will tell me, oh, so-and-so has really grown since they first started, or just in the last few months, you really see them doing this and that. And so I kind of have this like small group that if I go to them, they will give me good, honest feedback. Or they may, if they feel like they need to, just give it to me in the moment, which has happened. Like just in the past couple of weeks, one person in particular just came up and said to me like, hey, I just FYI, I saw this and it was really great because several months ago they weren't doing that and now they're doing it regularly, and so they can see it. And I can definitely see it as well. The people that participate more in the coaching development, which surprise, surprise, you see that or hear that more over time. So the people that are doing it with a little more regularity are the people that you hear about that more.
Right. It seems like that's the kind of more qualitative carrot that you could use to incentivize someone of like, right. Like if that is what triggers someone's interest or innate desire to get better. And then I'm sure there's another quantitative incentivization, like, if you almost like your committed club where somehow, right. Like if you attend 100% of the coaching opportunities or coach development opportunities, you get a $25 Starbucks gift card type of thing. Funny, you know what I mean? Like a quick.
I haven't even told them this because I'll tell them at the next staff meeting, which was next week, for everyone. Because I was trying to think, what's a way to incentivize them? Like, I love to be able to say, hey, I'm going to pay you extra, like X amount every week to do this. But I'm not at a point yet as a business where it's like, okay, I can pay myself, I can pay for this, and I can pay for this. I still want to bring home some money, so I'm not at a point there yet where I can add on like, hey, here's your on top of your coaching hours, here's an additional X amount of money every month for you to put towards this. Mm-hmm. So my incentive is, I want them. Right now, everyone has a level 1 except Mary. Mary has her level 2. Everyone else has their level 1. I want everyone to go get that level 2. We kind of talked about that last week or the week before. Mm-hmm. So for every homework they submit, I'm putting $10 aside. I put $10 aside for every homework they submit. And so when that next certification rolls around, and maybe it's a level 2, ideally, maybe there's a course online that they want to take, that money is being put aside for them for toward whatever their next continuing ed is.
Yeah.
So right now, like I can do that for you. I know these things can get, but
And
we also
did they know that before you just said it right here?
the only person that knows about that is Mary because she's the only one I've mentioned it to.
Gotcha.
I haven't, so that's the so.
So I mean, in all joke, yeah, hot release, premiere information. I mean, but in all joking, like my only critique of that is, that's like the I used to make fun of Drew. I still make. I mean, though I jump in, he is my gratitude for today. Freaking love Drufus. But anyway, I would always joke with him because he'd go to the pool on like Sundays or whatever and swim, and he would pick a lane next to or near somebody else who he looks and they're like, oh, they're kind of a fast swimmer. And then in his head, he would be racing that person if they're doing 50s or whatever. And that person has no idea that Drew is racing them. And then when it's over, he actually would almost like his like body language and he'd be like, talking smack to the person or like, but not really. But it's like all in his head. And I'm like, Drew, did that person even know you were racing? He's like, yeah, you should have seen it. Like they made a flip turn and I could see that they were accelerating and I just smoked them. And I'm like, yes, but did they know you were racing?
When you got out of the pool, did you walk by him and be like, nice try, bitch? And then walk to the locker room.
Which I mean, I'm making it very hyperbolic. Like he wouldn't really do that. But then he got the Peloton, like he does something very similar in the Peloton where it's like he's just doing it to try and get so it's on record or it's a recorded session. And so all the scores that are on there are not live. So he's like moving up the scoreboard based on like where he is in the session, where they were relatively in the session. And so where it's supposed to be like a resting period or like a slightly easier portion, he's still going really hard so that he can move further up the leaderboard, which in the end, it gets him moving and it gets him to do what he needs to do to, get fitter or whatever. But I'm always like, hey, so did the other person like know that you were in this thing that's happening, or is it all just kind of up here? And that's my very long way around to say, like, almost in this instance, too much information is probably a distinctly better thing than not enough information, because the goal is just to get these people to have an experience that facilitates a desire for the next experience, right? So if it's like, I totally appreciate the time lag on, suffering now for future gain,
right?
But there's also worth in like the immediate, I mean, you can appreciate this, the immediate stimulus of the reward in the moment to elicit the desire to do the next one. Because in that 3, 4, 5, 6 down the line, they've habituated the behavior of doing the thing. And then you can kind of titrate out the incentive because the thing becomes the treat, like the doing the training, which is for you a thing now. But that's, 8, 9, 10 years in the making of habituation. Think back like, oh, well, what was it the thing that got me? What was the motivation or the stimulus that got me to start down this path, rather than at the 10-year mark or at the 8-year mark or now at the, I'm habituated into like, I like reading books. People are like, what? Why would like, but to think about like, oh, well, what was it the thing that got me started down that path 25 years ago? It was, I don't know what it was, but like, so there's a constant balance and combination of like, okay, immediate feedback, immediate reward versus like the expectation of future reward. And the two constantly are working together to do something which is less explicit, which is that habituation of the person wanting to do the extra work or the get better. Because if you just like, you should want this for the sake of it itself, and be like, fuck you. Like, where's my cheddar cheese, man? I want my reward.
It's funny. I've even heard people say too, like, it was one of the coaches one time too. It's like, I'm just asking like, how do you there's some, some of these gyms and some of these owners I talk to, they're like 100%. They have a handful of their coaches on. They're all in the same room on this call together. And like, and I'll ask them, what they do for this and that. And someone one time said, let them know how much you paid for this, right? Like how much you pay for Affiliate U. And like, this is,
that is, they're right. Like that's one thing, right? If that's the relationship of a transparency, because right, what they're playing on is guilt. Like there's a sense of skin in the game, and like sort of like a literal investment, but then also a metaphorical investment of like, hey, I've invested this much. So you quantified for them, like you are worth $1,800 a month to me, extra on top of everything else I'm paying for. That's how much I am invested in your development. And so then somebody says like, oh, okay. Well, and they're grown ass adults, right? We're not talking to 9-year-olds here. Like they go, oh, wow. But I would offer that is also got a limited capacity of effectiveness, shame, guilt, expectation.
That's what it feels more like to me. And for the most part, like
that's a powerful passion to drive desire. But
also in my mind,
has a limited, it has a limited effectiveness. That's all. Go ahead. Sorry.
I say also it feels like I'm not saying I would have this reaction or not, but I go through all the the scenarios in my head where it'd be like okay, well okay, cool, you pay this much a month, well you run the business, that's the cost of doing business, right? Like so or like I think some people too, unless they see like, well, you're charging, $225 a month for a membership, and we have X amount of people, so you're probably fine. I think some people,
Is that your narrative or their narrative?
That's me creating a narrative in my own head. Yeah. So that's
that was an easy question. Right? Yeah. You knew the answer.
When you asked it. So.
Right. It's the same reason of like, don't charge what you would pay for a gym. Charge what the market will bear. And and what the value of the service you're providing. Yeah. And so it's the same discussion. It's the same kind of conflict between too much transparency or the right amount of transparency in order to convey, because all we're talking, I mean, money is not real. It is simply another manifestation of value. And so you got to ask yourself, all right, well, then what is the thing that I value, that the money is simply taking the place of the thing I value? And so that's where, okay, hey, look, you guys are worth your development and the service that we could possibly provide, the thing that is most important to us, the client, the athlete, the experience that athlete has. For me to be able to facilitate the conditions for you to develop in the best way possible, that is worth 1/3 of our monthly revenue, right? Like that's a way of saying it. And you can be like, holy crap. Like, yeah, the other third goes to keeping the lights on, paying the mortgage, blah, blah. The other third goes to paying your salaries. They'll be like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Wait a second. Where do you fit in that? Exactly. Right now, you are more important than me. I'll keep this shit afloat, but this is how I value what is most important. What are you speaking towards? You're speaking towards what you prioritize and what is important to you and what is most important to the gym as an entity. Now, all of a sudden, if I'm an invested partner or an invested participant in that process, now I go, oh, what is most important? And so if I'm thinking like, do I show up late? You know what? What's more important? I'm going to go to this concert with my friend. Be like, huh. And like, you now have a basis from which to have future conversations with someone who doesn't seem to be in line with the things that you have established that are your values. Yeah. Client's experience, quality of that experience. I don't know. I'm making these up. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you have 3 words, right? Like it could even be those 3 words as the foundation of those values. Money is just an easily identifiable placeholder, right? Marker of value to somebody. Yeah. And so in that sense, shifting the narrative around from like you immediately, not in a bad, I would say in a bad way or inappropriate way, but you immediately went to like, almost like a competition of like, who can suffer more, who can get one over on the other. Like, man, you're just trying to get one over on us of like, you're swimming in Scrooge McDuck, gold mountains of, whatever, it's not like, like he's got caverns of gold coins in his backyard. I know that. I mean, look at how much he's trying to be like, okay, so that's not the way it's happening. Even if I did, who gives a shit if I'm offering you something that we equally see as of value, then there's no desire to play into that comparing mind. Right? Like, but in a sense, that's telling of like where your thought goes to. You're also very aware of it. So it's like, all right, well, fuck that. I don't have to play into that. What I can offer them is transparency, truth, consistency of the messaging, clarity of the values that are important, blah, 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 like all that stuff and it starts with like, look, I want you there. I need you there. And from my perspective, you consistently coming benefits so many, not just yourself, but so many other things. And if you have established, now I'm talking to the coach, and if you have established that what's important to you is to professionalize yourself, to be the best coach that you can be, to offer the best experience for your athletes, and to personally benefit from that, it seems to me that lines up. So you explained to me why none of that is the case. And that's why you're choosing not to come consistently, right? Like that would sort of be my pushback on the coach who doesn't consistently show up and be like, well, my schedule doesn't fit, blah, blah. And be like, okay, I appreciate that. Then let me ask you this. Did you eat 3 times yesterday? Like, let's make it real simple. The other things in your life that you choose to prioritize, that to me, your behavior speaks more than what you are expressing is important to you. Let's examine that. And if you're like, you know what, actually, this really isn't that important to me, be like, great. I'm glad we could clarify that for each other. I'm going to let you go. I need your t-shirt back tomorrow. Yeah. That was aggressive. I'd be like, geez, I didn't even get a chance to assess.
Yeah. There's, I guess that's sometimes the fun challenge behind this is trying to find what's the right carrot. Because everyone's carrot's a little different sometimes too. I wish I could.
I've seen that commercial on Hulu too. The bent carrot commercial. There's like some disease that like certain dude, like your penis is bent, and so it's like bentcarrot.com.
Hey, I thought we were supposed to keep that offline. We talked about this, Jack.
I mean, I'm serious. It's a Hulu commercial where it's like, I think that's seriously the name of the company is bentcarrot.com. And it's about like a penile straightening service, surgery. I think you can like take, anyway, whatever.
I'm really curious now. I don't want to do it while we're on. I want to Google.
You might, right? You might. This might get blocked.
Yeah, we will.
So anyway, so everybody's carrot is a little bit different. Agreed.
Yeah. And so it's just trying to find that right sweet spot, and I think
everybody's sweet spot is in a different spot.
Yeah. That's why you need to straighten out the carrot.
Or not. I mean, maybe right. Or not. Maybe people like the bent carrot. I don't know. Everybody's yuck is somebody's yum, my friend.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's funny too with this. Like you said, I've been doing this for I don't know how many years, and sometimes I feel like the the old dad that like when I was your age, I had to walk to school with boxes on my feet because we didn't have shoes. And I feel like when I first started coaching, it was like, this was not and not just because like it wasn't offered at CrossFit Old Bay. Like this was not a thing that was even like around. Like having to sort
I think it. I mean, like a service like Affiliate U. I totally agree.
Yeah,
those guys are one of 3 or 4 that have kind of emerged, but they were. I mean, OPEX training was around. It had a different flavor to it. What's his face? OPT's thing was around because DRT was going to it. That's a lot of acronyms of people. But I would even offer that Ellen tried this. I think, and and I think she came from, I mean, coming out of Trident, Chris Smith and Andrea. I mean,
Yeah.
freaking Andrea. I mean, I can't think of Andrea's last name all of a sudden. I don't think it's Smith. I think, yeah. But I mean, she's like OG, coaches the level 2, or, you know, she's flow master for, anyway, like, so the coach development concept, I think, has always been there. The commercialization of it by entities like Affiliate U or Two Brain or whatever is sort of maybe the next generation, or the 2.0 or 3.0 version of it. I think the delivery method, though, is still at heart, when it doesn't stick or when it doesn't resonate with coaches. I think if you drill down into why or what was causing it not to resonate, I think you're going to find the same similar, basically the same issues. And it's an absence of transparency. It's a misconception of the why. It's right. It's all, from my perspective, it's all the same communication faults that have existed and will always exist, of why, when, look, you know it's important, I know it's important. If we were able to express why it was important to the audience, they'd be like, what the fuck? Like, why aren't they getting it? So our immediate move is to assume that the audience is dumb, or that they're bad people, or they're lazy, or they're stupid, right? Like, instead of, and then I suck, I can't, I'm blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, what if we just assume they're awesome and they want it? You're awesome, and you're offering something that is amazing. So if we're not getting connection, then it's not them, it's not you. Oh, maybe it's the way in which it's being delivered, or maybe it's and 9 times out of 10, it is. It's like 1 or 2 minor communication difficulties. You're not delivering it in a way that can be heard. It's inconsistent. There's an absence of transparency. One or both parties are making assumptions, right? And so the sort of mediator role is that person that's like, well, have you ever asked them what they want? Have you, when asked, offered him the expectations or what you want out of it, right? Like, is there a clarity of intention? Is there a clarity of expectation? So all of those things of like, how do you know that they've heard what you've saying, right? Like, right. Have you created this feedback loop? Like, right. It's it's marriage counseling 101, right? Like, why would I want to do the dishes?
Why would I want to wash the dishes? Baby one lemons. The baby wants baby gets.
He's all grows up. Look at him. He's all grows up.
Oh man. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing one thing I really enjoy. It's, like I said, it's hard with these coaching development calls, which is a thing. I appreciate when people can't make them because they're limited. The time can be limited with only those 2. You know, it's a full hour, and it's, you know, middle of the day or right here at the end of the day. And for me, either one of those is kind of difficult because, like, 11 a.m., well, Meg's on the clock working. So if I decide to jump on that call, I'm either it's on and it's kind of background as I'm like with the kids or whatever it is that I need to be doing because Meg's working. Or Tuesday. So, for example, I was on last night's. At that time, Meg's trying to get Axel to bed. Fee is just getting home from like going over to a friend's house. Everett has like no pants on and like ran out the front door to go get Fee. And then Fee comes in and she's like running upstairs because she wants to go tell mommy something, but mommy's trying to get Axel. So it's like utter chaos. It's a tough time in the day because the big part of it is like that's when Meg's trying to put Axel down. So Meg's not really available at that moment either. And so I can understand how it can be tough to make them. And I appreciate that they record them and you can watch it or listen to it later. But I was joking on it yesterday that like, as much as it's, you know, I don't know how many whiteboard briefs I've done in my life, but you can always learn something by watching. And I love, you know, watching how other people do it. And maybe I'll see something that I do that I can do better. Or it's something I see maybe one of our other coaches do is like, oh, you know what? They do that too. And Denise always, I mean, she's such a ninja, like the feedback she has. But the thing that I really took away from yesterday is she commented on my hair, which made me feel real good. Like Denise just told me how, like, because this one dude, Brian, who I always joke with, he owns Midstate. If you check him out, Midstate CrossFit, they're out somewhere in like the middle of California. But there were about 50 other coaches on that call, and he puts out a question to the group. He's like, "Who has the best hair in the group? So and so, or Eric?" And Denise is like, "Well, so and so's is nice, but Eric's got this flow." And I was like, kind of sitting on the couch, so he's kind of leaning. There was like a piano in the background. He's got this like sexual aura about him that's just like she was going real into it. I was like, this is why I come on these calls. That's real good, right? It's but they're a lot of fun because as you get more comfortable too, like people are, it's really great. Like the feedback you get from like it's people that will, whether it's from Denise or it's even from someone else in the group, that everyone's there for the same reason to get better. And once you get more comfortable too, you have no problem, like whether it's asking a question or like you share your video and then Denise will even put it out. Maybe we watch a whiteboard brief and she'll say like, they did this, they did this. Did anyone notice this thing that they did? And then it becomes this open discussion where you get all these different points of view. So it's really cool, like the amount of feedback you can get just from attending or asking a question and stuff that you don't think about.
What from that experience do you distill out that could not be replicated in any other way? Like, what is it about that experience and that story that you just told that makes it so worthwhile? If you were to like almost like one word it, almost like one sentence it, like distill that down into the heart, the gold nugget of that experience that makes it all worth it.
I guess I would say that connection where you're whether it's like with Denise or whether it's with one of the other coaches. And for the full hour, you're focused on this one thing and you're all connected by this one thing. And then I think the thing that Mary was saying that she kind of wants the more interactive, that interactive.
I appreciate you picking up where I was going with that. Well done. Yeah.
And so that's my, like, even if you don't do the homework, but you get on one of those, like you're going to get a lot out of it.
Right. So that's the part, right? And that's the carrot to perhaps offer to a ridiculously smart,
talk to Mary later,
amazingly proficient, right? Like professionally, like ridiculously professionally successful superpower of a human being, aka Mary. Like, can you, like, what she is saying in her own way was, what you're offering me offers me no vision of connection, because in my experience, these types of things feel robotic, automated, disconnected from the opportunity to offer a human connection. And what you just explained, the experience that you just explained, is the complete opposite of that. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, so there's a disconnect here, because what you understand as the reality is something she can't yet see, which is totally legit, because probably in all of her experiences, or if she's had one or two or three experiences, then she's basing her assumption off of those experiences. How do you convey to her or offer her an opposite or like a counter experience to start to dissuade that assumption and that belief? And that's the part. And it's like what you just described is like exactly. And it could even be like, hey, remember when you went to your level 2? That's the type of people that are on these calls. That's the instructor. That's the thing that they offer you in real time. Like this. I got complimented on my hair. It made me feel like the most important person in the world. We're talking about whiteboard briefs. Who cares? But like, out of the hour a week that I have the opportunity to feel like I am doing something that is quite possibly the most, outside of raising my children, quite possibly the most important thing I could be doing all week, it's in this hour. Give me that hour this week. See how it feels for you. If you come out of it and you say, it was a waste of my time, I totally get it. I'll take you to coffee. I'll buy you a nitro or whatever. It's on me, right? Like, but give me that hour and see if there isn't a glimmer or a chance that you could experience the thing that I'm talking about.
And I would challenge too with that hour, like I said, sometimes it's passive where like I turn it on, but I have other things I need to do. But I would say if you can, in that hour, be engaged in that hour, like sit down, interact, because I think because it is a very different experience when you because like I said I could just pop on a YouTube. I could pop on the YouTube link and just listen to it while I'm like prepping dinner or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not
right.
like,
So when it's recorded, right. But if it's that live real time. And so in the end, are we talking about what is the thing that we're talking about that in that this, I can answer this. This is, I don't want to put you on the spot, but we're talking about time, right?
Yeah.
Time is the thing that is the scarce resource or the illusion of time. We can go down that freaking metaphysical discussion of what is time and, anyway, but we won't, though I'm super excited about that.
Next week, let's talk about time. The one about time.
The one about time. But right, like that's the thing that we're all dancing around is you even said it, like how hard it is to carve out that hour a week when the rest of life feels like it's constantly robbing you of all of that time. And it's like, it comes at that moment right when you're like, ugh, I gotta do this other hour. And I just finally got the kids to bed. And all I want to do is just sit for 15 minutes. And it's like, yeah, I totally get it. Because at that moment, that hour feels like it is the most important thing in the world. And it's being robbed from you by this thing that you supposedly have to do. Versus if I could offer you an hour where you feel like the most important person in the world, and it is possibly going to be the best hour of your entire week, like why wouldn't you jump at that? Instead, be like, well, I can get that from watching the next episode of, fill in the blank, Apple, Netflix. Yeah, I could. We go a little bit longer than an hour though. Because damn it, we're worth it. I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And people like me. But yeah, I mean, then that, right? Like none of this is earth-shattering revelations. Right. Like it's totally like, but how often do we have to remind ourselves of it? Every day. Right? Like that is the work. Like that's the practice, is every day. Like, okay, wait a second. So-and-so is mad at me, or God, this feels so awkward or whatever. Like, God, they're so annoying. They're always like this. I can't believe her. I suck. I'm the worst. It's like our immediate default mode network is to vilify ourselves or the other person or the situation or the institution or whatever. And it's like, whoa. What if it's as simple as they had no idea that you were hungry? They had no idea that you had, poison ivy and were absolutely miserable. Like, how about you just say, like, before we go, I'm starving, man. Can we like grab a pack of crackers or something? And the brothers are like, oh, I'm so glad you said that. I skipped breakfast too. Sweet. Swing through Chipotle. Let's go to Full On, ladies and gentlemen. This episode brought to you by Full On of Annapolis. It's a sandwich place in Harbor Center. You haven't been there yet?
No.
Oh my God. They have a crab cake, grilled cheese that is legitimately, I mean, like, if they made a sandwich in heaven that like only God ate, and like you could have a bite of it every Tuesday of like every 10,000 years, that would be this sandwich.
Really?
It is so, I can't.
Now people have mentioned that sandwich place. I don't think I realized it's called Full On. All right.
And that's just, I mean, that's like one of the top 3 on the menu. Like they're like, roast beef with bacon. Like you get it. It's got this like pepper. Oh, they have a club that has this like pepper aioli. I'm thinking if that's the right way to say it. Aioli?
I say aioli.
Aioli?
Aioli?
Mayo-y thing. And their onion rings, phenomenal. Like absolutely amazing. Like do not go there thinking like, I'm just going to have like a small salad. Like go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else, you idiot.
All right. But anyway, like, how did I get there?
It's got like a bar. It's like a bar restaurant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I see people. Yeah. I was wondering initially like how they were going to make their
craft meats. Oh, maybe that's where I take Meg.
Super low stakes, always low key, but also at the same time you finish, you're like, God dang, that was good and not that expensive.
Nice. Yeah.
Brought to you by Full On of Annapolis.
I think I remember that. I told one of the. Remember having this conversation with Fern in Denver, and just the be willing to ask for help. And part of it was like when it comes to like your kids and stuff, he goes, man, he goes, I asked my in-laws so much. He goes, I didn't even feel bad anymore about like asking them for help because it's just like I need it, so I'm not gonna feel bad. And worst case scenario, they say no, and that's totally fine. Like they can't do it. And so I immediately was like, you know what? Like Megan and I have not been on a date, just her and I, kidless, since definitely since before Axel was born.
Yeah.
And we and so I said, like, I got home and I was like, I texted, Kim's mom, and I was like, I need you guys just once a month for 2 to 3 hours about this time, like once a month, a day that Megan and I can just get out for a couple hours, just have some time to ourselves. And I said, we'll stay close at first because we haven't left Axel with anyone before, but we'll stay close in case something comes up, blah, blah, blah. And so then we went to this little, it's called Jesse J's Latin inspired kitchen. We got a pitcher of margaritas and some tacos, and it was so good.
Right? Like so simple. But yeah, that's genius, dude.
Right. And so this place, like being in Edgewater, it's about that time of day, though, it'd probably take about 20 minutes or so to get there. So I'm trying. It's also I want to maximize the time too, right? Like I don't want to spend if we get 2 hours, I don't want to spend 40 of it in the car.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, if it's just right, like you're at that. I remember being at that stage where it was like 40 minutes in the car without the kids and just the two of us. Like that's as good as right. That's as good as a date. I mean, that is the date.
Play a specific song over and over.
That's the thing. Like again, like the treat isn't the popcorn or the candy or the soda at the movie. The movie is the treat. Like, and actually, it's funny. Like,
in which case, the time is the treat,
right? Like, we don't even go to. I remember I was in college. I was in grad school. I was living in DC, and my longest friend, buddy of mine, came down. He's working, he's teaching at this point, and I'm like, all right, man, what do you want to do? I was like, you want to go see a movie? He was like, dude, I didn't drive 2.5 hours to DC to go sit in a dark fucking theater and not talk to you. Yeah. Right? Like, no, like, let's just hang here and get some beers and, eat some chips and hang out. And I was like, huh, that's a really good point. He's like, there's no entertainment needed. You're the entertainment. I'm the entertainment. Like, that's it. Like that. And that was always stuck with me. We're still very good friends. And like that aspect of, so I hear you, like, there's a sense of like, I'd rather get to the place too. But the 40 minutes in the car is like, that's also, that's half the fun, 3/4 of the fun. It's just the fact that you get that and you don't have, where's my iPad? Everyone's touching me.
Well, I think, if anything, I think about it for Meg's purpose, because she's like, if I talk to Eric in the car, then he'll drive to the moon if he's not paying attention.
Put it on them. Google.
She says to me all the time, she goes, Eric, I swear, I don't understand how you don't, like, I mean, I do, like, I don't know. I pay attention when I'm driving, but
let Waze tell you where to go.
That's true. I just need to shut my brain off.
I got technology for that.
But yeah, it was a good one. It was funny too. Like when I think about what Fern said too about, he's like, I didn't even feel bad anymore. I said when I took her out for her birthday last week, and originally asked if they could be here at like 3:30. So I could take Meg out. And then Meg had a separate conversation asking if they could come a little bit earlier. And so we were out somewhere, and Meg's mom texted, we're on our way at like 2 or 2:30, something like that. So they ended up getting to our house before we could get.
What's a dentist's favorite time of the day?
2:30. And so they ended up getting to the house before we got home. So they're here waiting for us because Meg asked if they can come early. Now, this was kind of a lapse communication. Her mom said, hey, we're on our way. Well, there was never a discussion of when they would be here or when they could possibly. So a little lapse communication there. So they were here waiting for us. And they're coming from the Eastern Shore. So it's a little bit of a drive too. So I can understand. They're here waiting for us. And Meg immediately, she's like, they're going to be annoyed because like we weren't there and they came early and blah, blah, blah. And so when I asked them about like, time next month, the first time, like her stepdad asked us, he goes, are you going to be there? Like, are you going to be ready to go when we get there? Like he asked that question. And it was kind of I can understand him asking it, but also like, come on, man, I apologize. Like miscommunication. I'm sorry that happened, but it felt kind of like a dig. And I was talking to Meg and she was like, you know what? I don't want their help. I don't I don't want this. I was like, no. You know what? I don't care. As long as they come,
that's a
I
tough,
don't care. Yeah.
And
like,
right, like every participant in that scenario, if like we can objectify all of you into like archetypes of personalities, like it's all valid. Meg's right? It makes that there's a whole piece, there's an essay by Seneca on favors, the idea of like, if I make a favor, if you ask me for a favor and I make it contractual for something else later, it's not a fucking favor, man. That's not like a favor is legitimately I'm doing something with no expectation of return. Like that's the virtuous favor. And so like what Meg is saying is exactly correct. Like that, you know what? That just isn't worth it to me. Like I'm the fact that I'm asking for the favor means I have nothing to offer you back, because if I did, I wouldn't be asking for it.
Exactly.
And then their feedback back of like, yeah, but in the end, it's like there's an absence of clarity around the expectations and the boundaries of the favor. And so what they're considering, and I don't have something off the top of my head to offer, like, yeah, there's justification in what they're talking about. And then there's justification for you. Like there's totally like, hey, look, I don't give a shit. Like if they come with all kinds of riders and, strings attached, whatever, I don't care. Yours is more like utilitarian in the fact of like, that does not outweigh the benefit of like what it is, except it kind of does, because for Meg, like she needs to also be where you are emotionally for you to have it be of worth. And so there's like all three of the participants in that scenario are all wrong and all right. So it's like, how can that exist at the same time? Wait a second.
It's funny. Her brother said it to her yesterday, where she's like, because we were talking about it, and he goes, look, you're either going to be annoyed because of that comment and that he's just kind of being, petty about it or whatever, or you're going to be annoyed that they're not available to help out.
Right.
You're going to be kind of annoyed. Like you're going to be kind of annoyed either way. So which one really benefits you? Just take it and go on the date.
And Rudy is a smart dude.
He's done some things that haven't been so smart lately.
Hey man, he's right. Like that's how he got to where he is. He's a wise and weathered man.
I laugh because I have never mind. He's doing great, Rudy.
Good.
Anyway,
so all right. So the takeaway, right, is what is this? This to me, I'm setting myself up for what's our takeaway or our nugget is, I think it truly is like the incentive, drilling down into that thing that is the both timely desire, the thing that will drive like that timely desire, or if you can't get it in the moment, can you express a way to get somebody to appreciate that it'll come? And Mary's the perfect story of like, she basically, what she was saying is everything you're offering to me from her current perspective or, reservoir of experience does not suggest to her that it will allow or elicit the opportunity for connection, for human connection. And your story of that experience on the call is the complete opposite of that. Like to me, what you described was like, dude, if they taught you or offered you the opportunity to get like 5% better on your whiteboard brief, who the hell cares? Like what they offered to you was the in the moment experiential lesson of the power of making a human connection with a group of other individuals. And so if my whiteboard brief sets the stage for that to happen 10 more times over the course of the next hour versus my whiteboard brief immediately establishes, don't talk to me, don't ask me questions, I'm in charge and you're going to do everything I tell you to do. Which whiteboard brief do you think I should try and emulate? Right? Like, and so there's a sense of like, oh, okay. So all it comes down to is every time I have the opportunity to create the conditions for a human connection to occur, I should probably choose that.
I'll jump on that. Yeah.
That seems like not just a CrossFit lesson, but like maybe a translatable lesson. Yeah.
I'll tell you, this podcast is worth its weight in gold. just We're changing lives and saving lives.
Hold
Jack.
on a second. Let me shift my dollar bill filled pillow that I'm sitting on right now and go take a nap on my money filled mattress. Yeah, for all that cheddar that I'm charging.
What was that
those
scene from
people.
Friends? Like, oh, I'm so sad. 2 women are in love with me. My 50s won't fit in my wallet. My diamond shoes are too tight.
I'm gonna go swim in my safe or my vault filled of gold coins.
There's a great I can't remember if it was like a GIF or a quick video of what it would actually look like if Scrooge McDuck, like what it actually looks like. And you see like Scrooge dive into the coins and just his body's like a broken, bloody mess. Oh man. That was good. Hey, speaking of Friends real quick, can I
how'd you do on that? Did you play the Giphy game this morning?
I haven't done today's. Have you done it?
I got it on the first one.
Okay.
I'm learning the trick. Yeah, for folks, this is oh, yep, here you go. See if you can get it. I won't give you the hint. Like it is the quintessential content. Like this game plays right into my strengths and weaknesses. I don't know the titles or I don't know enough about Friends, but I know enough about like very specific things and tropes that they used across the 9 seasons. Right. To be able to like narrow it down, and then knowing the intricacies of this game and like what clues it offers, I either get it in 1 or it takes me almost all 6. Like I've yet to have like a middle ground in any way.
So I'm proud of it. So I did yesterday's the day before and got it on the first try. Like the GIF. Now what I think that makes it a little bit easier is like you said, if you know specific things, like I could type in, like if I wanted to.
So if you real quick, like okay,
right,
that's so funny. That was the first thing I put in too. And then what's going to be the next thing you're going to put in?
Boom.
So you went with why'd you go with Tulsa?
Because I know he's in Tulsa. Like that was when he was I thought to myself, I already knew. I know that without saying this, I knew that the title of this one is The Christmas in Tulsa.
So that's fine. So what I put in was Christmas because I did ham first as well. And but then I was like, okay, well, they are very explicit on they do not have Christmas decorations outside of Christmas episodes.
Yep.
So, but I'm looking at, and then like you can tell by age, like kind of where they are in the sequence of seasons based on kind of how they look. And I was like, wait, this is the one where he was in Tulsa, I bet. And so when I typed in Christmas, it immediately came up the one with the Christmas in Tulsa or something. And I was like, boom. And I got it on the first guess.
It does make it easy that way that like, you can put in a keyword and then it should ring a bell right away. But
and so then have you noticed too, like the clues, if you get it wrong, like it gives you the arrow saying like you're too early or the arrow to the left saying you're too late. And
this is my third one. I've gotten on the first try each time.
So this game basically is too easy for you.
It's kind of easy.
So you can start to like mastermind, like narrow it down by season of like you can like pin it into exactly where it is. So that's where I was saying where if I don't get it on the first try, then I'm kind of stuck like because my reservoir of Friends sort of knowledge is by no means on par with you and Duncan. So I either get it on 1 or it takes me almost all 7 or 8 of them. However, I can't remember how many you get. How many?
And it's funny. Some are kind of spot on. Like the one, I'm curious to see. Like, I mean, like I said, I know them well, but like you see the one with, it's one that you either 100% know that this is the name of the episode or you don't. But it's the episode where they have the game Monica and Rachel in that game, they lose their apartment to Chandler and Joey and Switch.
Yeah.
And that is the like most memorable moment. It's probably one of the most memorable scenes in the history of Friends.
What when Rachel or Monica yells at her like
Trans monster.
What is that? And the boys are doing the dance, and then the next cut is they're riding in on Joey's dog. Yeah.
And it's so good. And like, but that episode, do you know the name of that episode?
No idea.
The one with the embryos.
Because that's the other.
Phoebe had the embryos or whatever put in when she became a surrogate, and so like that's a big part in the like Phoebe carrying her brother's kid.
Right.
Like like is a big deal, but it's overshadowed by that. And so it's one where like, how well do you know the show? Because some of the titles are so obscure compared to like the one with the jam, like the one that was the other day.
But so what that was easy for me because it's his when he's got the sling, and I can specifically remember the scene where he's just got it all over his face.
Yeah.
And so there's actually 2 episodes where he's got the sling.
Yeah.
It's 2 back-to-back episodes. And you know the story because he came in and they told this at the reunion show where they actually had to modify order of shooting because there's one where he falls over a couch or comes in and like jumps over the couch or something, and he fell and he separated his shoulder.
Right.
And so they're like, well, shit, they've got to reshoot this, but how? Yeah. And so they're like, all right, let's look at the season arc. Which ones can we shoot that they like wrote in like a modification, like he hurt his shoulder doing something.
It was a cold open. I think it might've been of that episode. It was the cold open where Chandler walks in on Joey and you just hear the springing of Joey jumping on the bed.
Yeah.
Then Chandler walks in and he goes, that's why we don't jump on the bed.
Right.
And as soon as show starts, he has a sling on.
And so it sets up a real world injury for them to be able to shoot those 2 episodes over the course of 2 weeks, 3 weeks while he got it healed. Yeah. Then they could go back and shoot the other ones. And I was like, that's like the what's it behind baseball sort of like insight of that they revealed on the reunion show. I was like, oh, so I know that those 2 episodes back to back, it's the jam one. And then it was actually a clue or a couple, might've been like 2 or 3 right before I sent it to you and Duncan. Cause I did a couple before. I was like, are these guys even going to like it? And it was like 1 or 2 into it. I'm like, oh my God, they got to know about this. They're going to freaking love it.
No, it's awesome. I love it. Like now my challenge is, can I get it? So my challenge for myself is, can I get it on the first try, and can I get it by only looking at the first GIF? So I don't swipe. Like, can I get it?
I don't think you can. I haven't been able to. I don't think you can advance into the other GIFs without making a guess.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. You haven't even had to yet. I think another challenge for yourself should be, can you do it without using, like, can you just guess it right by the name of the title? Because you know all the titles of the episodes so well. Like, can you do it?
The keyword.
Right. Yeah. Like, hold yourself to, and if you don't, like, obviously, like, whatever. But yeah, it's
like
fun.
that one with the jam. Like, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's called the one with the jam.
Right. Like, which it is.
Yeah. Right. And this one is, and then
it might be the one with the jam plan.
That might have been it. No,
yeah.
Let's see. This is where
we have officially lost all 2 of the viewers at this point.
It's called the one with the jam. Yeah. Season 3.
You're right. See, why the hell did I why did I second guess you? Rookie mistake.
We should do a full year of these gifts, and then we have to get Rachel to bring. We got to get Rachel and Duncan back up here, or maybe you and I need a road trip down there and play her game again. That was
it's not even worth. I mean, it's like trying to play like 1-on-1 against like Steve Curry or something, to be like, okay, you have to play on your knees, blindfolded, with your right hand tied behind your back, and he'll still beat me by 3 points.
So I love that you just called him Steve Curry, because his name is Steph Curry.
Oh,
but thinking about it though, like growing up, you were those championship team Bulls. Steve
Kerr
was and Steph Curry, who was coached by Steve Kerr.
Oh, look at that! Yeah, so that's the
multiple championships under Steve Kerr. So anyway, it's cool. That's good stuff.
Stupid white guy mistakes.
Right. I have so many of those. Oh, love it. Cool. Well, awesome, man. Well, you did your gratitude Drew today.
It is, yeah. So I told you my cousin, my one cousin came down this week.
Yeah.
He came in Monday. Totally out of the blue. Teacher he's a vice principal now, but he had the whole month of July off. He reached out to a handful of us, came down to visit, and so I was like, in typical fashion, it's like, oh my God, I got to fill the day. We can't just sit around and talk. Like, that won't be enough. Like, we need to be more. And so, but I've like kept it small. So we did a academy visit because he is expressed like this would be fun. They got a 6-year-old son. So I was like, we got to have something to do for them, or we're all going to, destroy ourselves. It was awesome. It worked out great. Academy visits are so malleable in what they can be. But then I was like, all right, so we're gonna come home, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if Drew or Colin can offer us something perhaps. And so I asked Drew, I was like, hey man, are you around Monday to maybe do like an afternoon boat ride? And Drew, in typical fashion, not only says yes right away, but when he says yes to something, like he always delivers well above and beyond anything that you would expect. And it's like, and it's such like, he's the epitome of, if you ask him for a favor, he not only delivers it, but he delivers it with like no expectation of like, there's no quid pro quo. There's no, he is the epitome of a virtuous, somebody who can deliver on a virtuous. Yeah. And so he took us out on the boat, made it so easy and so simple. And like, we went up the Severn, turned around, came back. It was beautiful. I mean, the weather played out great. And then he dropped us off in Eagle Valley. I was like, man, come on. He had somewhere else to be. So it's like, it's not even like he didn't have anything going on. I think he had like something else that was like pretty pressing. So he had like a hard and fast time, which for me would have been like, sorry, I'm busy. Can't help you out. Right. Like he doesn't, he makes it work. But then Colin came like about 20 minutes behind us, came zooming up the Severn on his jet ski and like met us out there like something out of a Mission Impossible movie. Josh ends up jumping off the boat onto the jet ski and like rides around with Colin on the jet ski while we're like going back. It was awesome. My cousin's son was like, this is amazing. I mean, it seriously was like something out of a movie. And awesome. By the way, this like those houses on the Severn, holy shit, they are gorgeous. Like, wow. So we get back, we're like almost like right on Spot Creek, right off the fields there on the seawall at the academy. Colin pulls back up on the jet ski. Josh jumps off of the jet ski back onto the boat to come downtown with us to go to Mission Barbecue. Colin takes off and Drew drops us off downtown. So yeah, I was thanked him afterwards, sent him a text. He's like, dude, it's no problem. I got him some Mission Barbecue because for like I didn't have to do any of that, but I got him like some brisket and sausage from Mission and dropped it off or whatever. Nice. All completely unnecessary, but at the same time, like that's if I could somehow monetize Drew Bauer, like he's $1 billion asset, like without a doubt, like easily. Like absolutely amazing. And so I was so grateful. Made that trip. Like it was a fun visit or whatever. But like my cousin's son is, this is the best day of my life.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so my cousin goes, thanks a lot for that, man. Thanks. Whatever. What the hell am I gonna how the hell am I gonna mash that?
Nice job. That's awesome. Oh, that's like a fun day. I just had fun.
It was awesome.
That was a fun day. Nice. So mine is, I'm going to share my screen again here for a sec. Mine is these two people right here.
I heard about this. Yeah. Holy crap.
We had a little wedding after weightlifting on Sunday. So Sam, just superficial, like super. Well, it's official because all the paperwork is signed and sent off, and so they were. So I guess once that gets its stamp of approval, these two are wed, and they. So
scroll through can you scroll through the pictures? Let me see more pictures.
So here they're walking down the aisle.
Oh my god!
We had more than words.
That's so great. And did you officiate?
Yeah. So I signed the sheet. They're gonna do an actual wedding and ceremony. It will apparently in 2027. They have a date picked out, and Kelly said because it's all prime numbers or something like that.
Oh my god, they're perfect nerds.
So we need to do a little reception or something for them. But they're there. Yeah, signing the marriage certificate and all that good stuff.
That's so cool.
That was they were. I just cut the cake. Ken and Louise brought the.
That's a good looking. It's a good looking cake.
Yeah, not too shabby. From I think it was Whole Foods. Wow. And this was a wedding toast provided by ChatGPT.
Ha!
Yeah. So Juliana just said she said wedding toast for a CrossFit couple. Yeah, she asked ChatGPT for a wedding toast for a CrossFit couple, and this is what it came up with.
That's really well done.
Yeah, it's not bad. So,
Gotta love that generative AI.
yeah, it was awesome. Oh, look at those two. Yeah, they went out afterwards. Oh, yeah. So anyway, yeah, just the fact that they like, they've got a lot of stuff going on that they're like, this is the first step. They're I don't know much. They want to adopt a kid, and they need to be married to adopt a kid, and so they came in a couple weeks ago. And they said, "Hey, Sam came in because so Eric, I've got some news to tell you." And actually, the way he said it, it sounded like something like I think initially my thought goes to something like that. He's like, "So I have something to tell you." The way he kind of said it, I was like, "Should I be concerned?" And he goes, "Kelly and I are getting married." I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing! Like, that's so great! I'm so excited!" Like, so you propose? How'd you propose? He goes, "Well, I mean, there wasn't a proposal." He goes, "Because the other news is we're adopting a kid." I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're adopting a kid! Like, when did this happen?" They're like, "Well, so like Sam tells me like."
Did you think about starting with like a guinea?
Right?
Did you think about starting him with a guinea pig, maybe, or like a cat? Something a little. Just kidding.
Well, Sam's like Sam hits that he gives you the highlight with no like context, and then it's like, hold on, you don't even lead up to it. But yeah, they're looking to adopt, and the adoption coordinator is like, you need to have been married for a year to really even get considered. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, well, let's just get this done. Like, we'll do the illegal thing so we can basically get on the list. Do the legal thing so we can get on the list. And then
the illegal thing would have been catching a flight to Thailand and participating in some human trafficking.
Yes.
So yeah, good catch.
Which probably they've been way easier and way cheaper. But yeah. So this is this long process. So they're like, so they asked like, they asked if I'd officiate, and they'd asked if they could do it at the gym because that's where they met. It was this place, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Like this is. So that was just it was a really good feeling.
What an amazing favor they did you, offering you that gold mine of a marketing narrative. Right? You tell me another gym that right, like that is the quintessential like CrossFit story of they didn't know each other. They both started CrossFit. They met at CrossFit, started dating at CrossFit, got married at the CrossFit gym. I mean, the only thing, maybe like if somebody has a kid that they need to put up for adoption within the CrossFit gym, like they adopted, a classmate's illegitimate child.
We are a one-stop shop for family relationships.
Yeah. That took a bad turn.
Yeah.
Let's cut out that last part.
Yeah.
Can you edit this thing? Can we edit space
bar?
For
anyone still listening, stop 20 seconds ago. But yeah, I'm so happy for them. That's so just awesome. They make me happy. So
heck yeah, that's well said. They do. They are the types of people that it is impossible. And that's a lot of pressure to put on them, but like it's almost impossible not to be happy around both of them.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a good week. Hey, you working out tomorrow morning?
I'll be there. I forget. I looked, but I forget what it was. I don't want to know. I'll look later.
Yeah, I know there's. Oh yeah, I remember what it is. Okay, cool. Yeah,
this works out because today will be let's go for a long ruck with the dogs. Maybe do a low impact lift or whatever. But yeah, dude, last week Andy got a bug up his butt, and we did riding Helen. So we did Helen with 800 meter rides on the bike instead of 400 meter runs. Holy shit, that put me in the ground. And then we did rowing Nancy. So I did Thursday's workout at the gym at Fairwinds, and then did riding Helen in the afternoon. Then we did rowing Nancy Friday, just cause couldn't move Saturday, so took Saturday as a rest day. But then we still had a bug up our butt to try and do the 5K, so we did a 5K row on Sunday for time, and then yesterday did DT. And I'll tell you, man, I felt like dog shit with those over. It's the overheads. Like my shoulders just were not. Deads were fine. The cleans were fine.
Did you do that heavy DT from? You talking about Monday?
Mondays. Yeah. What did I say
Mondays,
yesterday?
yeah.
Mondays. Yeah. I
Yeah.
ended up going 135 because I was like, I had in my head, I was like, maybe I'll go 165, 185, whatever. Went through the warm up, had 165 on there, did one shoulder to overhead, and I'm like, nope.
Damn.
And I went to 135, which was fine, right? It's that
Yeah.
scale for life. Like it was
Yeah.
the right call for that day at 5:45 in the morning on
How
a
many rounds you
Monday.
got?
5, and then so I held myself
Yeah.
to 2.5 minute rounds.
Yeah.
I was finishing the rounds right about 120, 125,
Yeah.
and then I would rest a minute, go again. I could have probably chipped that down to 2 minutes and gone
Yeah.
6-minute rounds.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm looking at the week as like a no more than 1 to 2 workouts where like I legitimately push to maximum.
Yeah.
3 to 4 across the week where it's like, intense and functional, but like a little bit lower. And then like 1, like today will be long. Got weight on my back, so it's still loaded. It's still something. And then maybe I'll do like, so there's deads and presses on the Mayhem. I think it was yesterday.
Mhm.
So I'll probably do like a deadlift and strict press sort of complex
strength piece.
Yeah, totally. Just to like, and for me, that's more neurological than strength. Like I probably won't go above 275, 300 on the deads, and probably keep it, medium to heavy on the presses, but whatever. So like the Monday, Thursday work out perfectly because I like to keep it. I'll look just so I know what Thursday is, but I'll make the call of like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go balls to the wall on Thursday. So Monday was a perfect, like I haven't done medium heavy barbell cycling in a pretty long time. And I came to realize Monday was not the day that I was going to do it. So I went medium-ish barbell cycling, and it was good enough. Like it's like scratched the itch. 6 was doable, but I was like, why would I want to? That's silly. So yeah.
Nice.
And again, like those are perfect. And I'll keep it. Those are perfect. Like 6 unbroken shoulder to overhead was the real goal. Like that, everything else needed to go around that. So again, if I were, not that it's too late, but if I were to offer Soph feedback on her coaching, I'm skipping you on this one. It's she went off of what Cap said, but there was like one more little part of like, all right, so if you're still confused about what weight to use, this is what I would recommend. Whatever weight you choose, you should be able to do those 6 shoulder to overhead unbroken every time, no debate, and finish rounds under 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think Cap said like you could break once or something like that. And I would, 100% as a coach, I would say I would make that one more step and say like you should keep those unbroken, like for the purpose of the stimulus.
But it gives that stopgap. Like she offered some really great guidance, managed the class, kept us moving, but there was kind of like that like, okay, 1 or 0. There was no binary moment in the buildup of like, what should I do? And in conversation afterwards, just had like Drew was like he's like, yeah, I saw you strip that weight. Boom, I made the choice to like. All of us were kind of in that same boat of like, should I not? Like we needed a binary 1 or 0, and in the class plan guidance there wasn't. It was still too much choice. Great options, great guidance, but there was that one missing, like, all right, I know I've given you a lot to kind of get you here, but here's the final, like, and they do this at the level 2 with the one workout where it's like, it's the final test. You need to be able to do 3 strict shoulder presses with the weight that you're choosing. And if you can't, and you got to do it in front of the entire class. So there's like a shame element, there's a performance element. And it's like, if you can't do all 3 strict presses, you're stripping the bar to a lighter weight. Right. And so there's that serves a purpose to facilitate a better experience 6 minutes into that 12-minute AMRAP, because we are all dumb monkeys who will never make the right choice if left to our own devices. So the coach's job is to help you make the right choice.
It's totally that. You give it's one of those too, like you'd like to see them unbroken, but you could drop it once. Well, now you just gave the permission to drop it once, and people are going to go too heavy. And so it's so what do you really want to see? Tell them what you really want to see. Hold that, like, drop it once in the back of your mind. So like later in the workout. If they drop it once, okay, but they stayed unbroken early and it's there if they need it. But keep that back here for
Yeah.
you.
And for setting up a future episode, that's the power of RX month.
RX
is
month.
that once a year it helps the coaching staff, the programmer, the athlete, grandmom who's sick of hearing you talk about CrossFit. Like, it recalibrates for everybody what the hell this metaphor of prescription means.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Well,
as prescribed.
About it. I was totally thinking yesterday about I need to do another RX month. Maybe I'll do it September. It feels like
because it's the idea of like, all right, I come up with my plan, and whatever plan I come up with at the beginning of the workout, if I execute on that plan, that's considered RX. All right,
he's doing his owl impersonation.
Knock knock.
You do your owl.
Knock knock. You got to help him out, Eric.
Oh, who's there?
An owl who's. Oh no! Shoot! I just blew it. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Who?
Who?
Oh, is there an owl with a stutter here?
Oh, knock knock.
Who's there?
Boo.
Boo hoo.
Oh, don't cry, Jack.
Oh, but the podcast is over.
It's over. Goodbye, everybody.